Nona the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. This is a book that was nominated for the 2023 Hugo Awards, and I've decided that on this channel I'm going to review all 6 of them before the winner is announced next month on October 21st. I've already reviewed Nettle and Bone, so this is book number 2 of those 6 books, but in its own series it's book number 3. It seems misleading to me to call this a third book in the series, because I haven't read the first 2 books, but just from reading the third book, it actually felt more like I was reading pages 2000 to 2700 in a really fat book. The author doesn't make much of an attempt to reintroduce elements of her world. So a lot of the times I was reading this and I felt very lost as to what the dynamics of the world are. She has a lot of interesting ideas with the lectors, the necromancers, an empire, the Blood of Eden as a revolutionary group. But as far as like what the stakes were as the story went along, I was just kind of going along and guessing. It was really tricky to follow along with not having read the first 2 of the books. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who have read the whole series, but I suspect that this is a series that has a steep learning curve as it is, so it's kind of silly jumping in to book 3, it turns out. But to be fair, there were a lot of really good points about this book. The characterization I thought was especially strong. She has a unique voice for each of the characters. She has a unique way of explaining them, so that right now in my head I can hear the voice of Nona the Ninth, of Camilla, of Pyrrha, of Hot Sauce, of the Prince. Like, they're all interesting characters to me, and their dialogue sounds so different from each other. It's beautifully, very well done. I especially enjoyed the character of Nona, who is rather oblivious to all the other things that are going on in the story. She just has this sweet, naive perspective. Sometimes this can be annoying, but she does it, but the author does this so well at weaving in humor and making a likable character. It's really impressive. I also think the writing style is very good. She used a lot of clever turns of phrase throughout the book, and it kept having me stopping and thinking like, oh, that was a good way to explain grief, or that was a good way to explain, you know, whatever. She uses metaphors very effectively, so I was impressed. On the whole, though, it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience to read this book, the great writing and characters notwithstanding. I could tell there were a lot of points that were meant to be shocking, of jaw-dropping reveals of some kind, but it's just not as fun when you don't get why things are shocking like they're supposed to be. So maybe if I'd read the first 2, this would be just a whole lot of fun, but who knows? I guess that's my mistake for jumping into the middle. So what rating do I give a book like this? For writing style, I'd give it 4.5 stars. For story, I can't really say anything because I don't know the larger context. So overall, I'm going to give this book an incomplete amount of stars.